I was trying to come up with a witty intro for the video, but then I realized the title says it all. Sony's PS5 cross-gen lie justifies Microsoft's Xbox Series X approach. Let's talk about it, shall we? What is going on, everybody? It's Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. Hope everyone's having a great Friday. If you guys could do me a huge favor, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button and share this video out on social media. Thank you guys for all the support. It really means so much to me. Well, it's certainly been an interesting few days, hasn't it? I haven't seen this much bad press for PlayStation since the early PS3 era, when they launched the system at $600 and didn't really have any good games for a couple years. They rebounded, obviously, had some great games at the end of the PS3 era, but for the most part, everybody loves PlayStation, the fans and those in the media. But today, a lot of people feel misled by Jim Ryan and his quote about how they believe in true next-gen exclusives. They feel that PlayStation has engaged in what they would call deceptive marketing. And in this video, we're going to kind of delve into everything. So I'm going to start all the way back in January with a quote from Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, that kind of started this discussion regarding cross-gen, where he said, hey, as our content comes out over the next year, 2 years, all of our games, sort of like PC, will play up and down that family of devices. We want to make sure that if someone invests in Xbox between now and the Series X, that they feel that they made a good investment and that we're committed to them with content. Now, when Matt Booty made this quote, it was very controversial. There was definitely groups of people who agreed with him and those who really didn't. Xbox fans had kind of accepted the idea that Microsoft would be putting their games on both the Xbox One and Series X, but PlayStation fans didn't like this idea of Microsoft holding back next gen because they felt it would hold back the PlayStation 5. And to be fair, this was the first time a console manufacturer was going to release their exclusives on both generations. With the Xbox One, virtually all their games were only playable on the Xbox One. Crimson Dragon, Rise Son of Rome, Dead Rising 3, Killer Instinct. The only game that actually had a last-gen port was Forza Horizon 2, and even then it was made by a different developer. On the PlayStation 4 side, Knack and Killzone Shadowfall remained exclusive to the PlayStation 4. They weren't on the PS3. Sure, users expected cross-gen titles from EA, Activision, and the like, but gamers were at least expecting first party to put exclusives on the new consoles. And this quote from Matt Booty changed the ballgame. And this is where Jim Ryan, lies of omission, and deceptive marketing by Sony enter the stage. Now, keep in mind, since January, Microsoft was getting beat not only by fans of PlayStation and some Xbox fans, but also from the press about their idea to support the Xbox One. A lot of people didn't like that idea whatsoever, and they were looking for PlayStation to make it right. The article says one way to keep PS4 users engaged would be to make upcoming PlayStation 5 games playable on the older machine, just like Microsoft is proposing with its Xbox Series X games being playable on Xbox One. Yet Ryan says that's not something PlayStation is interested in doing. Quote, "We have always said that we believe in generations. We believe that when you go to all the trouble of creating a next-gen console, that it should include features and benefits that the previous generation does not include. And that, in our view, people should make games that make the most of those features. We do believe in generations, and whether it's the DualSense controller, whether it's the 3D audio, whether it's the multiple ways that the SSD can be used, we are thinking that it is time to give the PlayStation community something new, something different, that can really only be enjoyed on PlayStation 5. And trust me guys, when I tell you, the quote there at the end about how he wants to give PlayStation community something new, something different that can really only be enjoyed on PlayStation 5 was met with cheers from PlayStation Nation, because they assumed from this interview that Sony was going a different way than Microsoft was, and they would be getting exclusives made only for the PlayStation 5. You know, I can't tell you how many times I saw this sentiment on Twitter or in my own YouTube comments about how games like Spider-Man Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West were only possible on the PlayStation 5 because of that SSD and other features. But that's where the marketing comes in, and Sony Sony is the king of it. Because they didn't say anything forever about how Spider-Man Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West were on the PlayStation 4, the fans ran with this quote and just assumed everything would be exclusive to PlayStation. If you read it again, go through it line by line, they never say it's exclusive to PlayStation 5. He just mentions that there would be some features that would only be on next generation. People put it into their heads that he was talking about the games themselves. So yes, while he didn't outright lie. So yes, while Jim Ryan didn't outright lie, he didn't tell the whole truth. And that quote is how the deceptive marketing campaign by PlayStation began. Then let's fast forward to this week in the PlayStation 5 game showcase, where Sony showed off once again Spider-Man Miles Morales, and everybody was excited about how that game looked and played, including myself, only to find out in a tweet and a blog post that, hey, that game that everybody thought was only going to be on PlayStation 5 because it needed the SSD and all that stuff was actually also coming to PlayStation 4. They didn't even put that announcement in the game showcase that everybody was watching. They left it to a blog post because Sony didn't want to kind of break the illusion that they believed in generations. Look at this article here. It says, while it wasn't mentioned in Sony's official announcement, developers of certain games later confirmed that PS5 exclusives like Horizon Forbidden West and Spider-Man Miles Morales aren't exclusive at all. They're both releasing PS4 versions, which may irritate a few Sony fans who took to heart Sony's commitment to next-generation development. The belief is that developing games across generations stifles creativity and hampers the technological ambitions of the game, since it has to cater to an audience with less powerful machines. Quote, "No one should be disappointed," Ryan said. The PS5 versions of those games are built from the ground up to take advantage of the PS5 feature set, and we have an upgrade path for PS4 users to get the PS5 versions for free. It's about people having choice. I'm really quite pleased with the situation. I gotta say, that is like a complete 180 from the previous interview that Jim Ryan gave back in May that we just talked about a couple minutes ago. And if you look at that quote and swapped out PlayStation 5 and put in Xbox, you honestly could believe it came from Phil Spencer. And look, for the record, I don't care that Miles Morales and Horizon Forbidden West are coming to the PlayStation 4. I think it's awesome that more people can enjoy the games and you necessarily aren't forced to upgrade to PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X to play certain titles. So I actually 100% agree with Jim Ryan that no one should be disappointed, but believe me when I tell you, there are tons of PlayStation fans who are disappointed, who did take to heart Sony's commitment to next-gen development, because for the whole year, I've heard nothing about SSD, and how it's gonna completely change the game, and how certain games would only work on the PlayStation 5 and they wouldn't work anywhere else. And it's definitely funny to see those PlayStation warriors just eat that huge-ass L this week. So then you gotta ask yourself, well, why did Sony mislead everybody? Why the deceptive marketing? Why not be upfront like Microsoft has been? You may not agree with Microsoft's approach about supporting cross-gen, but at least they've been transparent about it since day one. So if you didn't really appreciate that approach, you didn't have to get a new Xbox. I think Sony saw the backlash that Microsoft was getting for their cross-gen approach, and they decided to be quiet about it and not tell anybody until it was basically too late. We're less than 2 months away from the console releases, and this entire year, people have just assumed the PlayStation 5 would have true next-gen exclusives, and that Sony believed in generations, and the PlayStation 5 was a better machine for it. And Sony was more than happy to let their fans and the media spread their message until it kind of seeped into the public subconsciousness that PlayStation 5 is better than Series X because it has true next-gen stuff. I mean, just take a look at a couple examples here of some media articles I pulled. Games Radar back in January. PS5 reported to have next-gen exclusives after Microsoft announces cross-gen plans for Series X. And then in August, cross-gen games are hurting the industry and we need to cut them loose. But then yesterday, yes, a bunch of games we previously presumed were exclusive to PS5 aren't actually coming to PS4. No, that isn't a bad thing. But clearly you just said cross-gen games are hurting the industry and we need to cut them loose. But now that PlayStation 5 is doing cross-gen, it isn't a bad thing. Then we have Tech Radar that said Xbox Series X's cross-gen approach is robbing players of the next-gen thrill. And then when PlayStation 5 did their about face, their article was titled, "The biggest PS5 games are set to come to PS4 in Sony U-turn." So why is it pretty negative when it comes to Xbox Series X's announcement before about how it was robbing players of the next-gen thrill, but almost neutral when PlayStation did it? Look at this quote here from the PlayStation blog. "Additionally, we know that the PS4 community will transition to PS5 at different times, and we're happy to announce PS4 versions of some of our exclusives. Marvel Spider-Man's Miles Morales, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, and Horizon Forbidden West will also launch on the PlayStation 4. That's almost exactly what Xbox has been saying the whole time, that people will upgrade to next generations at different points, and that they wanted to have those games available to the people on Xbox One if they couldn't upgrade. The difference here is that one company has been transparent since the very beginning, and the other one wanted to suppress the truth as long as they could. And trust me, yes, I know a lot of the toxic PlayStation fans, the ones that really speak the loudest, aren't going to like this video one bit. But you know what? Those PlayStation fans have been moving the goalpost the entire generation. I remember when those guys used to say that Sony would never put their first party on PC. What were they saying after Horizon Zero Dawn came to PC? Well, Sony will only do it 2 to 3 years later. It's really smart. Except you originally said they would never do it. Now, in this situation, you said PlayStation knows the value of exclusives. They would never put PS5 exclusives on PS4. They're not as dumb as Microsoft. And yet today, we have 3 former PS5 exclusives going to PS4. And what do I hear from certain people? Well, it's only 3 games. It doesn't really matter. There's still some exclusives. But that wasn't the point. You said that they would never do it. So keep on moving those goalposts and tap dancing for Jim Ryan. The sooner you realize that these corporations don't care about your console war, they don't care about you, and only want your money, and are basically doing the same thing, the better off you'll be. Anyways, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And as always, if you enjoyed it, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Share this out on social media and tell a friend about the channel. If you want to be notified immediately whenever I drop a new video, make sure you hit that notification bell. If you want to take your support for the channel even further, you can hit the join button, where you will get access to channel badges and emotes for the Xbox 2 podcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you that take the time out of your day to do so. It means so much to me. And I'll see everybody in the next video. Later, guys.